coming to you from the Edge Podcast Studios at South Mountain, Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to the Edge Podcast with Mike G. Buckle up, Edge Nation. It's about to get real.
Welcome to the Edge Podcast. This is Mike G, and we are in studio today. We have a very special show for you. We have Shanna Duvall, who is coming to us as a newly minted RushClubNation title holder for flyweight title, and she's an amazing woman. First of all, let's just say this: she's a doctor, she's a chiropractor, she's an entrepreneur, and she's also a health and fitness coach. And she works for OPEX Fitness, and like I said, she recently won in February the flyweight title, which is now you hold two. Mm-hmm. You hold two. It's incredible, 2 titles. So first she won the lightweight title back in December for RushClubNation, which is a CrossFit style competition. It's head-to-head between 2 competitors. The lightweight is 126 pounds to 139 pounds, and she won that in December. Who did you beat?
Jamie Gold.
Jamie Gold.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
then,
she's awesome. And
then you won the flyweight recently in February for Rush Club 007, and that was 125 and under. So you lost a couple pounds.
About 3 pounds.
That's so awesome.
Wasn't too hard.
I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you.
I'm
really excited to be here.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Shanna Duvall.
Thanks, Mike.
You bet. So, first of all, tell us a little bit about where you come from, like where were you born, and a little bit about yourself, and then we want to talk a little bit about how you got into CrossFit. All right.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
I was born in Kent, in Northeast Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and technically, I grew up in the small town of Brimfield, which we were so small that we had a mailing address for Kent. And I went to Field High School, which Field High School was the town of Brimfield and Suffield combined to make Field High School.
Field High School. I got it.
So there were about 187 or so in my graduating class. And I ran cross country and track there.
Oh, really?
We had a really successful cross country and track program. While I was there, we won 2 state championships on the women's side, and at least in 1997, our men's and women's team both won the state title.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were state runners up my senior year. I took 4th in the state, and then in the spring I ran track, and I went on to run cross country and track for Kent State University. So I stayed in my hometown through undergrad. Yeah. And then I had a lot of injuries through undergrad. I kind of got caught up in the more is better mentality.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of overtraining. Unfortunately, I started college injured because I got my training plan. My coach is run 55 miles per week, and I was like, I can do more than that. So I did 20 miles more per week, and then I started the season injured, with just chronic IT band type of stuff that haunted me just throughout. And I was.
How do you deal with something like that, by the way?
Well, rest helps. I never had a straight on eating disorder, but I definitely had exercise addiction. Yeah. So I was I just had it that I had to be at the gym at least 2 hours a day of cardio plus weight training. And I just was terrified that if I didn't do that, I was going to wake up fat the next day. It's totally ridiculous, but that's really how I had it.
Now that you know, right?
Now that I know,
it's not
it
calories
work
in,
that.
calories out. That's not how that works, right? We all know that.
So,
if you don't know, just look up Gary Taubes.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Or email me.
Or exactly, because you're a health and fitness coach.
Yeah. Anyhow, so over that course of time, I started to see a chiropractor, and she was super helpful with just helping me kind of control it, although I was still kind of not listening on the training side of things to really let my body rest and heal. However, what I really loved about her is how much she loved her job.
Really?
She loved her job. She used to tell me, I ended up working for her front desk while I was in school. Huh. And she used to tell me on Mondays, she's like, yeah, I love my husband and everything, but sometimes on Sundays I get bored and just wish that I could be in the office. She loves being with her patients. And that spoke to me because I really wanted to do something with my life that I loved.
Right.
No offense to my parents, but I just grew up with the experience that they were always complaining about their careers and their jobs, and they just hated work.
Well, what did your mom and dad do?
My mom was like a general manager for different like senior housing. She's a gerontologist and just she like organized senior housing homes.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm horrible with like exact titles.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
yeah.
And then my dad was a custodian at like one of the local high schools, and you know, great jobs, great benefits, all that type of stuff, like good security. And yet like they just complained. And I just remember being a kid and like just like listening, being like, man, that must be horrible. Like you spend so much time at work.
Yeah.
And
Why wouldn't you want to love what you do?
Yeah.
You know?
And that's just where, you know, I believe in that, you know, very much so.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole point.
It's like, what can I create? Okay,
Yeah.
what can we? So anyhow, I went to chiropractic college based upon how much she loved her job.
Wow.
Really is like what it came down to.
Perfect.
It's like, oh, she loves her job. I like her. We're pretty similar people. I'm going to love my job.
Yeah.
So that was when I moved out of Ohio, went to New York Chiropractic College in Seneca Falls.
Okay.
And
New York. Okay.
Seneca Falls, New York. Sorry. Yeah, exactly. It's like right on the Finger Lakes in between Syracuse and Rochester.
Oh, okay. I know where it's at.
Yeah. Beautiful area, just really long winters. And I went from living in Northeast Ohio, which, as you may know, is one of the most overcast places in the country, if not the world. I don't really know the stats. But literally, if it's sunny one day, it's going to be cloudy the next.
Right.
If nothing's guaranteed, that's usually guaranteed. If there were 2 sunny days in a row, it was like, what's happening? Oh my gosh.
The world is coming to an end.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I moved to Seneca Falls, and I went to visit the town in summertime. So it's like beautiful. There's like the Finger Lakes. It was gorgeous. And then my first day of school, they made some comment on how it's like something around like top 10 gloomiest cities or most overcast days, like next to like Seattle. And I was like sitting in my chair like, you didn't tell me this at my interview.
Should have went to ASU.
Exactly. So now I live in sunny Arizona.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Right.
But before I didn't go New York to Arizona. I went New York to Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So
we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Asheville.
Asheville's amazing.
It is. It's
Yeah.
really
One of my
beautiful.
favorite places. Like, can't wait to. I'm going to go back there this summer. I'm
Are you?
super excited.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. I wish I had made some friends in Asheville. And now that I have one, I might just hit you up and go with you.
I can introduce, if I'm not there, I can introduce you to
Introduce me to
people.
people.
I promise you,
Yeah.
I have people that you'd love to hang with.
Airbnb.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
But
got a
yeah.
whole community.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, cool. All
They'll
right.
go have beers and chat with you.
Really
Yeah.
nice. I
And
might
you know-
even bring my mobile unit podcast studio if I
Perfect.
ever
There's
buy
plenty of awesome people to interview
I'll buy
there.
one first, but
Yeah.
once I get that worked out, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest things. So you became a chiropractor based on the love that a woman had for her career. She just absolutely loved it. Now, after you get out of college, what happens?
What happens?
Yeah.
So it was while I was in chiropractic college that I discovered CrossFit.
Oh, really? Okay, perfect. Because I was going to ask you that next. How'd you get into CrossFit? Okay.
So 2007, I was somewhere through my second year of school. It was a 10 semester program, about 3.5 years. And my boyfriend at the time started doing CrossFit. And I remember so distinctly, like I was like on the elliptical, like doing my free weights, like just like at the gym. Like we'd go to the gym at the same time,
Right.
but I was like the independent woman. Like I never worked out with him.
Okay.
Right. I always, and I had my judgments, and this isn't meant to put anyone down, but I didn't want to be the girl that was working out with her boyfriend.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
It
I
just-
get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get
Like
it.
I know my way around the gym. You know, I'm coachable, but you don't need to show me what to do.
Right. And
So
now you got WODs, and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm
Well-
telling you what to do.
Well, then he starts doing
watch it.
CrossFit, and I'm instantly jealous. I was like,
Really?
oh, his workouts are so much cooler than mine. I'm like on the elliptical.
I'm starting to
like,
see a pattern.
Yeah.
It's got to be fun or forget it.
Yeah, totally. And so I was like, I was instantly jealous. I just saw what he was doing, and he'd be like, get on the website, CrossFit.com, and like check out the workouts. And then I'd be like, oh, what are you doing for your workout tomorrow? He'd tell me about it, and I was like, man, that sounds so cool. I don't even know what half that stuff is, but it sounds so fun. And I was like, I'm not going to be that girl. I'm not going to be that girl.
Yes, you are. It was just a matter
And
of time.
then somewhere, like, he was only about 3 days in to his CrossFit experience, and he says to me, I think you should try this. I think you might really like it. And I was like, okay. Like, I was like, done. You know, like, as soon as he invited me, I was in.
What was
like,
the Kool-Aid like, actually?
Oh, I remember the first workout so distinctly.
Really?
Yeah. Do you want to know what it was?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
It was 5 rounds for time
Okay.
of 45-pound bar overhead walking lunges. I want to say 50 feet. It rings a bell. And then 21 burpees. So you know what burpee is. Get down on your belly, get up and jump ahead.
We call them 8-count bodybuilders in the Navy. That's what they're called.
Great.
But they're burpees.
Yeah.
That's really all they are.
So 5 rounds, overhead walking lunges, 21 burpees.
Okay.
And I remember going through it. We were in the little like aerobics room of my chiropractic college's gym.
Right.
And it was hot. And it was just miserable. And I finished around 18 or 19 minutes.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, okay, that's equivalent to me like going out and running a hard 5K right now. And that was way worse than any 5K I've ever run.
Yeah.
It was painful.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, and it was fun.
Oh, my God.
And what was interesting before my boyfriend started doing CrossFit, how he found out about CrossFit is there was this gentleman in our class. His name's Craig. And he wore a CrossFit.com shirt that on the back of it, it said, "It doesn't have to be fun to be fun." And I'm pretty sure it was his favorite t-shirt because he would wear it at least once a week. And I always sat like a row or two behind him in classes. And so just as default of like my position in the class, I read that quote dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of times over the course of the year that he was wearing it. And I remember always being like, what does that mean? It doesn't have to be fun to be fun. What does that mean?
Right.
And then after I did my first workout, or WOD, if you will, I got it.
Yeah.
Like I totally got it. Like, oh yeah, it's kind of miserable and also really fun.
But at the end of it, you just have all these endorphins firing and you're lit up. I know. My first WOD scared me. And I don't remember what it was, but I promise you I was dripping sweat after. And by the way, a WOD is a workout of the day. You go to CrossFit.com, you can look up WODs, and there is a workout of the day, and they are always different. And I worked out for about 3.5 months in San Antonio, Texas, doing CrossFit at this one gym. It was a gym that had it. And I don't remember doing the same thing twice, ever, in 3.5 months. So that's what you're in for with CrossFit. And at the same time, there are levels. So you'll level up. And it's very cool, and the community is amazing too. You guys are, I don't consider myself a CrossFitter at this point because I don't have a box, and I threatened to go and join a box, but my threats are useless. The force is not strong with this one. Anyway,
that'll be a separate conversation,
and that we're gonna have it today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I completely promise you, I'm gonna get committed.
All right.
So right in front of you and everybody in the world, you're
right.
gonna get to hear me say I'm gonna join a CrossFit box.
Well, and we can have a conversation about setting you up for success with that too.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, so now you're a CrossFitter. You've been doing it for a few days or whatever, right? And everybody asks the question, or I hear quite a few people, I hate CrossFitters. It's a cult, whatever. Or they say things like, that more people get injured in CrossFit, and everything else. And so can you just talk to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, yes, there are injuries in CrossFit. There are also injuries in soccer. There are statistically more people that start a couch to 5K running program. There's a higher percentage of injuries of that than there are of beginner CrossFitters.
Wow. Okay.
And yet people have like a bias towards weightlifting that it must be more dangerous than running.
Right.
And I get it that potentially the what would be the word, like that there may be like a higher degree of injury. Like maybe people are more concerned about, like shoulder tears and like back issues. Like I understand that. I'm a chiropractor. Our bodies are very important. Our spines are very sensitive. Our joints are very sensitive. And yet it doesn't have to be a bad thing, especially when it's done intelligently. And that's why I said, to set you up for success in that understanding where you're starting from and that it's, as a whole, CrossFit is known as, high intensity exercise. Right. Constantly varied high intensity exercise.
It's a perfect place to define what is CrossFit, right? So let's define that real quick.
Well, I'm not a CrossFit certified. I mean, I'm not like on their staff, but essentially, it's just high intensity functional movements. Constantly varied at high intensity are the main components.
That's
yes,
what I
felt like I should have studied beforehand.
That's the correct one.
Thank you.
No, because I was struggling with what it really was myself.
Yeah.
So that's what I want was high intensity,
constantly varied,
functional movements. Yeah.
And so when I created the businesses in Asheville, well, first of all, I'll back up for a second.
Yeah, let's do that.
So here I am in chiropractic college. I fall in love with the sport of CrossFit, and I start working with some of my peers. People just start asking questions of, what are you doing? Can we do that too? And I'm totally teaching myself. My boyfriend and I were like watching the videos on CrossFit.com and figuring out how to I'd never done a power clean before, or much less a snatch. So it was all new in that regard. I'd basically just done bodybuilding type of training leading up to that. And then my friends wanted to try it out. And I was really interested in trying to coach them. I was like, yeah, let's do this. And so over the last year and a half or so of school, it quickly developed into, I had this whole client base where I'd be at the gym morning, noon, and night, and then go to clinic and classes in between that. But it became very obvious to me where I preferred to spend my time. I wanted to be in the gym. I love being in the gym with people. I love seeing their breakthroughs and breakdowns with fitness, because when people are training, it's so much more than just about the reps and sets.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot comes up, especially when you're
it's
at that
mental
high
battle
intensity.
too, right?
It's a mental battle.
mental battle.
I mean, I experience it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's the more you grow and develop and mature and have that more emotional awareness, the more rewarding it is, and you get to experience greater levels of fitness along with it.
Oh, man. And then CrossFit.com is that place where you learned a lot of what it is. So we just put CrossFit.com up for a moment.
Yeah.
But it's where you learned a lot of the things. So people are learning this, or they're hearing this, right? Yeah. They could go to CrossFit.com and they can learn a little bit more on their own.
Yeah.
But really, what they should do if they're in the Phoenix area is get in touch with you, because you really have, right?
And they don't even have to be in the Phoenix area. I have clients worldwide.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a remote coach.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so opexfitness.com
Okay.
would be where they can find information on that.
Yep.
And yeah, so what I was saying is that, so then I start getting excited looking into what it means to run an affiliate.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, because I always was interested in coaching. I first wanted to be a distance coach. When I went to undergrad, I was a education major, and I wanted to coach cross country and track.
I love cross country.
I loved it too. And
I ran cross country when I was in high school for
so
2 seasons, and I lettered. And
then congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I also swam for the Marlins. And it was, oh my God. I love swimming.
Just being outside and then in the water.
That's amazing.
So
anyway,
awesome.
keep going with because
I knew I wanted to be a coach.
Yeah.
And actually, when I started chiropractic college, I had gotten off the coaching track mostly because I knew I didn't want to be a teacher. As I saw okay, well, I'm going to have to teach X number of hours a day, and the coaching part's only going to be X numbers of hours a day, and that's not a good ratio. I was like, I don't see myself really happy in that regard. And so then I kind of got off that, and so then I decided I'd be a chiropractor and help athletes that were dealing with injuries I had. And I thought that I could set myself up with my practice to be able to coach on the side. Yeah. Just maybe volunteer and help out at a local high school or something.
I get that. Yeah.
So then fast forward a couple years, and I discover this whole world of CrossFit, and I see that there's these businesses that are popping up where they're running CrossFit affiliates.
Right.
And that people are making careers out of it.
How do you become an affiliate anyway?
You apply online.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's it. That's easy. Is there any requirements other than just applying online?
It's been several years since I applied for my affiliation, and so I wouldn't be able to give you the most up-to-date requirements.
Oh, okay.
But there was an application process.
Okay. Don't you got to be a level 1 trainer or something like that? Okay.
Yep, CrossFit level 1 trainer.
So you become a CrossFit level 1 trainer. Look it up on CrossFit.com, and then you can apply for your affiliate, and it's not expensive. Greg Glassman is not
compared to it's not bad at all.
He is seriously just really getting it out there, and the guy's amazing. Greg Glassman, by the way, is the guy who founded CrossFit, developed and created CrossFit, and we could talk a little bit about that. But look him up online. You find him on YouTube. I want to spend time with you. So, really getting your affiliate program. Are you now an affiliate?
Well, I'm no longer part of that business.
Oh, okay.
So I ran a CrossFit Asheville.
Okay.
For opened in 2009.
All right.
And then I just moved out here last year.
Oh,
so
okay.
My boyfriend that I went to chiropractic college with, he and I got married and opened the affiliate together. Oh, wow. And then, it was a very mutual divorce, but we had evolved a lot over the course of our marriage.
Okay.
I hadn't even started competing in CrossFit at the time we got married.
Wow.
And so my life has taken a very, a different track.
Yeah.
And honestly, what drew me to him to begin with, at the very start of our relationship, he shared this philosophy paper with me that he wrote in undergrad, where he compared a relationship to a river, where, rivers run along, and some rivers run all the way down into the ocean.
It's true, yes.
Right? And it just never breaks.
Right.
And then other rivers have forks.
Yeah.
And they go on their separate ways.
Right.
And that's where we came to, like, in our relationship.
Yeah.
And we were amazing business partners together,
Mm-hmm.
and we had great intentions as a couple. And then over time, we realized that we were basically in each other's way of really being able to achieve what we desired in life.
That is a great frame to have.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I mean, because honestly, I think a lot of relationships start out at one point in life, and just like you said,
Mm-hmm.
they run through the river. Your former husband's brilliant.
Oh, he's
this
an
way.
amazing man. Yeah.
And that's so true. And what happens is society looks at that and goes,
Mm-hmm.
that's bad. And what really happened was you're now in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you are a 2-time title holder for Rush Club Nation, which I got to tell you, I'm blown away by. I
Thank
know
you.
AJ personally as well. And I'm blown away by your accomplishment there, number one. And number two, by the fact that we now have this amazing thing called Rush Club Nation.
Yeah.
Right? It's pretty incredible.
So awesome.
So anyway, so back to you and what was going on. And now you transferred, or you've what's the word I want to use? You transitioned? There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we finish each other's.
Hey, it's a good fit.
You didn't
There's
say
good
sentences.
flow.
You didn't say sentences. I gave you the opportunity. Anyway, we finish each other's.
Sentences.
Thank you. Jeez. I mean, I really got to work it here for you. Anyway.
No comment.
So, okay, so you've transitioned out of Asheville and the business, and your relationship is now where it is now with him, and now you're
all complete.
Now you're here. Are you?
Now I'm here.
You come to Phoenix, Arizona.
I've been coming back and forth to Scottsdale since about 2012.
Oh, cool.
My coach, James Fitzgerald, opened OPEX Fitness, and he's originally Canadian. He had his business up in Canada, and then he and his family relocated down here to Scottsdale.
Oh, perfect.
And shortly upon them relocating, I decided to, come out here and train in person because we were working together remotely.
Oh, okay.
I had first met him in 2009 at the Black Box Summit, which for the people that are in the CrossFit world kind of know that to be like it's kind of a taboo event almost, where there's just a lot of things went down as far as like people that spoke, and it wasn't a CrossFit sanctioned event. It was affiliates that came together and they wanted to support other affiliates, which is awesome because in CrossFit's amazing. And I really have a heart for affiliates and setting affiliate owners and coaches up for success.
Yeah.
That I've been there in the trenches, and I know that there's so many things that you forget, or not even that you forget. They're not even in your reality. Like when you think about opening a business, there's so many pieces that come up. Yeah. Like I remember we opened business in February of 2009. Yeah. And it was in Asheville, North Carolina, and it happened to be like the coldest week almost like in years there. Okay.
That's not a great grand opening weather
and
report.
Our heat wasn't on in the gym.
Oh man, really?
Yes.
Oh God.
So literally in our very first space used to be a wood shop. And our landlord said, yeah, I'll get all this sprayed down. Well, I take responsibility that I never made sure that it was all sprayed off before we came in. Yeah. And so we move in all the equipment, and I'm like sweeping it morning, noon, and night, because like literally there's this like really faint like dust just like coming down, and by like you would sweep it, and then a couple hours later you would just see this residue all over the floor.
Oh
We're
my goodness.
brand new clients in the gym, and they're literally just making comments like, oh, I'm not going to wear my new shorts in here because they're just going to get filthy. Oh, I can't wear my white shorts. And I'm like, I had one female that whole time in that space. We were only in that space for about 2 months, because when I explained to the gentleman we rented from that we were going to be dropping heavy weights, he didn't exactly have any kind of knowledge as to how heavy. Yeah. And we discovered that half of it was this really amazing old school building with this really incredible brick wall in like the river districts of Asheville.
Okay.
And and it's really up and coming now. Like this was kind of before the River Arch District was really awesome.
Okay.
And anyhow,
I was there in 2012.
Okay. Yeah. There was a basement under half of the space. Oh no. And that literally we had guys dropping deadlifts, and the floor would shake and the walls would shake, and I'm looking around like, are we going to fall through the floor? And so then I contacted him, and I was like, the floor's shaking a lot. And he's like, how much weight are y'all dropping? I'm like, 450 pounds. Oh, there's a basement under you. So needless to say, we moved into a different location. Yeah. So that's just an example of, I remember sweeping the floor and how long, it probably took at least 20 minutes each time to sweep the floor. Yeah. It's like, well, I didn't exactly calculate 1 hour of sweeping into my schedule when I was planning out my day and thinking about being a business owner. And I work with a lot of affiliate owners. Like, I'm the coach to them, which I love. I love working with coaches.
That is very cool.
Yeah. And just helping them to just hold themselves accountable. Like, we all need coaches. I have coaches.
So is that what OPEX, health and fitness, or OPEX? I'm sorry, OPEX. So is OPEX really for affiliates?
OPEX is for individuals who are serious about their fitness.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a really amazing coaching staff, people from all over the world that have like moved here, and we have remote coaches now as well. So we have like one that's in Chicago, another guy that's in Puerto Rico, and but the bulk of us are here in Scottsdale.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
The global coaching program is just launched this year.
Oh, wow. You guys are really taking it off. That's cool. All right. So now what? I mean, you are now in Phoenix. How did you run into AJ?
Oh, AJ and I met in Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we met in 2014. I was down in Florida for the draft for the Grid League, the National Pro Grid League.
Okay. What's that?
Wow. Okay.
I don't know.
So Grid is a relatively new sport. 2014 was their inaugural season.
Okay.
And it is not CrossFit, but it's functional fitness, and it's played on a grid, which is essentially the size of a basketball court. And I forget exactly. There's about 9 cities around the country that have teams, and so the teams go head to head, and they race down the grid. And there's 11 races that make up each match, and it's a 2-hour block. And each race has different components to it, but there's rules with each race, so it's all very symmetrical. And what's really awesome about it is that it's very fast paced, so it's like high energy, and it's really easy to follow. So if you just walk into the arena and you look down the floor, you can quickly know who's in the lead based upon which quadrant they're in on the floor.
Got it.
Sometimes CrossFit events are awesome as well, but sometimes it's a little confusing as to who's ahead if you just walk into the stadium at the games and you look out on the floor, what's going on down there?
No idea. Just a bunch of guys sweating, gals just kicking it. Yeah. Got it.
Which is awesome in and of itself.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all unique. It all has its own taste.
Definitely.
So I met AJ in Florida for the draft.
Okay.
I was already coming out to Phoenix, and then in 2014, I got drafted by the Phoenix Rise, which is one of the grid teams.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I moved out here to be an athlete.
Are you still competing?
I'm not on the grid. I was only on the grid team the first year, and I was a reserve athlete for them. And you remember how I said that my background was distance running? Well, I'm far more enduring than I am high pace, like speed and explosiveness.
Got it.
And I discovered that that's very much truly my essence.
Yeah.
And so while grid is an awesome sport, it's not well suited for me.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So I was on it 1 year.
Okay.
It was an awesome experience. You know, I still train with a lot of those athletes that are on the grid team.
That is great.
Yeah. And also my body never hurt so badly. I'm happy to say I'm in my 9th year of CrossFit, and my body feels great.
Yeah.
People assume that I must be feeling so beat up, and honestly, I hurt more when I was a runner.
Really?
Yeah.
I can imagine that.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark Sisson says the same thing, and he does completely different workout now. So do me a favor.
Yes, please.
Just show us what arms.
No,
let's,
I'm not
let's
a
see your-
figure
Come
person.
on, let's do that thing that, I don't know. Anyway. No, I mean, you do have a tremendously great physique.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we've got pictures, I think, that we can show. If you'll, Nick, pull it up. Just pull up the what is it? The RushClubNation, and don't put it on yet. We're still chatting, and I don't want to embarrass. I wasn't out to embarrass you.
Okay,
I wasn't.
it's all right.
Here, work it out.
I get that from time to time. You know, they're like, "Oh, do you work out?" No.
No.
I don't.
I
was born this way.
I thumb wrestle.
My mom, she's got great genes, which she does.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. My mom could do it. She's like 58 and could do a pull up.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
How many push-ups?
I don't even know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, she's an awesome lady, and she doesn't associate it to herself as an athlete because
No.
she was not trained. She never trained. And one day I was like, "Mom, you're an athlete," because she moved from Florida to Asheville when I was still in Asheville to basically join the gym and be part of it all because I love my mother. But I was like, "Mom, I'm not going to take care of you when you get older if you don't take care of yourself."
Right.
Like, I love you
that's
incredibly, and I have a lot of knowledge about how to keep you independent. And so I really would like you to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, can you, and she was just in a transition place herself. And so she transitioned to Asheville and became part of the gym there. We had a whole, like, well, there still is an amazing like senior population of people doing like senior fitness with CrossFit type of stuff. And I just saw some pictures on Facebook today. I got tagged with, I mean, literally 81-year-old woman. You know, I mean, I think she shoulders like the 40-pound ball or something, and you would never know she's 81. She's such a little spitfire. She's amazing.
You know, and I meet people, and like I met a woman the other day, and I found out she was 32, and I was like, you can't be more than 24. And she's like, and she works out and dances and does all kinds of, and I'm like, fitness, health, right, and fitness are related, and really, truly, the way you look and feel has a lot to do with how your body functions, and can it function at that level? Yeah. So I'm a lot younger than I look. No, I'm kidding. I'm messing with you.
Well, what I love about it too is that it's never too late.
That's true.
Because literally, there are some folks I started working with. This one woman I had the opportunity to work with, she was 78 when she started training with me. Oh, wow. Had never lifted a weight. You know, I mean, she lived her life. So you lift weights in everyday life. To pick up your groceries, you have to deadlift the grocery bag off the ground. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I have to laugh when sometimes people are like, oh, don't squat, don't deadlift, it's bad for you. It's like, what do you think you do in your everyday life?
Right.
Like, it's called functional fitness for a reason. Right. Basically to set people up for success, that if you trip off, off the curb, that you have enough athleticism that you don't break a hip.
Right.
Because literally the more athletic you are, the better you can fall. And broken hips are so highly related with, morbidity, mortality type of issues. And actually, basically the burpee, or more the get up, which is essentially a sunny side up burpee, if you will. So laying flat on your back and then getting up off the ground, like the get up test is like has a very high correlation with people's mortality rates and like their independence.
Really?
Yeah. It's like so simple of like, get on the ground, get off the ground, get on the ground, get off the ground. But in our society, unless we have an exercise plan that says get on the ground, get off the ground, get on the ground, get off the ground, we don't choose to do it on a regular basis. We sit in chairs.
We wait till we fall down, break the hip, and then try to get up.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, not this cowboy. So I'm 47 years old.
Okay.
And I've been doing light CrossFit. I'll show you my gym.
Awesome. I'd love to see your gym. Yeah.
And it's a legit gym, except for a couple of things. Like you'll be able to tell me exactly what I need, and I already know. I need, barbell. I need a 45-pound barbell. And
not necessarily.
Because I have a pretty nice slew of weights out there. My boy's getting into it as well.
Cool.
So, so when you met AJ.
Oh yeah, we still haven't finished that story.
How did it?
Tangent.
No, I love this. This is the part that really makes the difference, because people really get to know you, right? And so here's the interesting thing: when you met AJ, where was he at with Rush Club? Was he?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just try to stay focused on that story.
Sure.
So I meet AJ in Fort Lauderdale, the draft for the grid.
Right.
And we were in the parking lot, just kind of like struck up conversation, and he told me about Rush Club, and I was like, wow, that sounds awesome. Yeah. And what's so fascinating, we just discovered this a couple weeks ago at the February Rush Club, and I'll tell you the full story, because what I said to him, I remember being a little shy about it, thinking, I don't know if I'm good enough to compete at this event.
Right.
And yet at the same time, I was like, well, I just want to let him know I'm interested. And so I told him, I was like, I'd love to do that. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm like, I'd love to do it. And then when I came out here to Arizona, I attended one of the Rush Club events and saw it in person. I was like, this is awesome. I totally want to do this.
So awesome.
Yeah. And then he called me a couple weeks later and invited me to compete in November of 2014. Right. That was my first event. And he told me this past February at the after party, I shared with him how I almost didn't even tell him that I wanted to do it. We were reflecting back on when we met and everything. Yeah. I was like, I almost didn't tell you I wanted to do it because I had it that I wasn't good enough.
Right.
And he just stopped and he looked at me and he said, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? He said, I almost didn't call you to compete because he had it that his event wasn't big enough for an athlete like me. And I was like, wow, what does that even mean? Wow. And so we just laughed. It's like, everybody's stuck in the not good enough. Yeah. I'm like, can you believe that? I'm like, thank goodness we got over it and said, hey, I want to do that. And thankfully, I'm honored that he said, hey, I want you to come do this, because it's open. I've met so many amazing people, and I get to do what I love.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And everybody that competes, and it's such a, it's so inspiring. Like this last one, right? We had Derek Waito was there, and I got to see him win, and I was blown away because this guy he has one leg missing, and he's
like no excuses, people.
Former military, yeah, and there was another, and the guy that he beat, what was his name? I forgot his name. Big long beard, just
he is awesome. Yeah,
rock star.
I'm not gonna be able to recall it right now.
This guy finished. Because Derek won, and he still had a couple of things that his opponent still had a couple of things that he needed to do. And I'm telling you, I was so inspired because he finished the workout completely, and climbing up a rope. And I mean, the entire arena was just on fire, lit up. People going, yeah. And and that is the spirit of Rush Club right there. That's the spirit of CrossFit right there. People cheering you on. I don't know the last time I walked in to a gym and had everybody look and go, "What's up, man? It's good to see you," and high five me and come on, let's get to work. No, never happens. Never. Most people are just kind of in their headphones, and we're not allowed to have headphones. It's like,
2009 was my very first CrossFit competition. I competed in the Midwest Regionals, which at the time
that was for the games.
For the games.
Okay, got it.
And this was the first year they had regionals. And now there's right now we're in the middle of the Open, which is the online qualifier to try to get to regionals.
Right.
And in 2009, all you had to do was sign up and show up. And so I did that. I drove up. At that time, North Carolina was in the Midwest, and I drove up to Columbus, Ohio, and competed in this regional. And there were only 9 of us that completed the workouts on the first day to qualify for the final. And I was 9th of 9. And then in the final event, I finished last by about 5 minutes.
Wow.
And I was just so elated to be able to finish because I remember it ended with, it was either 20 or 30 reps of a snatch. And it was a 75-pound snatch. At the time, my best ever was 82 pounds.
Okay.
So I basically was lifting almost my 1 rep max over and over.
So for the benefit of our viewers, what is a snatch?
Okay, a snatch is you take a barbell and it's on the ground and you drive it up, drive your hips, and you catch it over your head.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
And I remember the old me, because when I was a runner, I was angry. I was so angry.
Really? I wonder why.
I was miserable to be around. I was... it's been this battle, and still a little bit, but then I was really stuck in I'm not good enough. And to the point that I was not even able to enjoy the experience of it. I remember this one time my aunt came to watch one of my college races, and she'd never seen me race before. And I did not run as I had desired to race. And my aunt was so proud of me. And yet I was so stuck in how horrible I did that I couldn't even be with how proud she was of me. I was nasty to her too, just in that you don't even understand. I ran like crap. I mean, I'm sure I don't know what kind of language is appropriate on this podcast, but I can promise
you.
You
say bad words. And it's completely up to you because your viewership's going to be like, she said the F word.
I know. I try to keep it.
This is really the edge.
Gracious
you can say
here.
whatever you want. And you can still be a lady.
Yes,
really.
I understand that.
And
Thank you.
I can completely be a gentleman.
So anyhow, I've had a lot of demons over the years, to say the least. And so it was a breakthrough for me just to be able to complete that competition. And it was my goal just to finish and under the time cap.
Right.
And so I was able to, despite the fact that I finished dead last, which I didn't love finishing last, but I was just proud that I was able to finish because those women I was competing against were so much stronger than me. I was 112 pounds, so scrawny out there on the floor. It was ridiculous. And then it was really awesome. Yeah. And exactly a year later, the 2011 regional, I was in the final event and there were snatches again as part of the workout.
Right.
This time they were 85 pounds, so 10 pounds heavier than the year before. And I think my max was at least 95 or 100 by that point.
Okay.
It still wasn't really strong, but
what's your max now?
155 pounds.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I won.
I love it.
I won that workout.
That is awesome.
I was in disbelief because I was like, oh my gosh, these girls are games athletes. Oh my gosh. I'm passing. There was running in the event as well, which kind of suited me because I used to be a runner and there were pull-ups. So, it kind of helped. But I was just still, it was such a sweet victory.
Yeah.
That I had, and I didn't qualify for the CrossFit Games or anything. I mean, I don't even think I finished in the top 10. Maybe I was around 12. But just to win the final event was exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is completely awesome.
Yeah.
And then, and I'm going to ask you this a little bit later, so keep this in the back of your head. But, how do you prepare for a competition So keep that in the back of your mind, because I got one really quick before that. Okay, when you competed in was it 2015 in December, right? Who were you up against?
Oh, the November Rush Club.
Yeah. That November Rush Club.
The lightweight championship.
Yeah.
Jamie Gold.
Jamie Gold. Okay. And who is Jamie in the world?
Jamie is an awesome athlete. She plays for the Boston Iron, so she's a grid athlete.
Okay.
And she actually plays and competes and gets paid to do it, whereas I was on the reserve, which nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
but she's a very high caliber athlete.
Okay.
She's competed at the CrossFit Games, I want to say 2012. She qualified out of the Southeast region. She's from Florida.
So she's legit, no joke.
Yeah, she's amazing.
You're up against, and no kidding, how'd it go? Because this is the piece and I'm asking this question this way for a reason. Okay. Because the one thing that AJ tells me all the time, and I love talking to him about this. He says that the games are won up here before they're ever done out there. And he's like, you have this thing that you have to work out here.
Yeah.
In order to get it to show up out there. And he's like, I've seen so many people just give up and quit.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I've seen some amazing wins. So tell me about how it went.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure if I played it safe or I played it smart, but I started from behind. Being a grid athlete, Jamie has the ability to do what's considered a butterfly muscle up versus a kipping muscle up, which is a movement in the rings. And essentially it just means that she can cycle them a little bit faster than I can. And the workout started with muscle ups.
Okay.
And so from the
and
top.
What's a muscle up?
Okay. So gymnastics rings are hanging from the rig.
Got it.
And you are hanging from them, and you pull your chest up to them, and then you pop your body over, and you come to extension at the top.
That's a muscle up.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. And so from the start, she's leading.
Okay.
And the workout was really fun. It was set up to where there were 3 rounds of 3 different movements: muscle ups, pick up a 100-pound ball and put it over your shoulder 8 times, and then pistols, which are a 1-legged squat.
Okay.
And after those 3 rounds, then you went directly into another 3 rounds of another 3 movements. So handstand push-ups, so up against a wall, touch your head to the ground, extend your arms.
Got it.
Box jumps.
Okay.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Jump up on a box.
Yep. And then pull-ups where you bring your chest all the way up to the bar. So chest to bar pull-ups.
Okay, got it.
So 3 rounds of that.
Okay.
And it was during those, on the second round, I had my back to her on the box jump, so I don't know what's going on. I found out afterwards that she tripped and missed a box jump. And at that point in time, I didn't catch her right then, but when we went back to the pull-ups at the end of the second round, we were kind of really close together. And she came off the pull-ups slightly ahead of me, and then I came off, and I was feeling good. Literally, I remember my self-talk. It was like a breakthrough for me in my self-talk, because normally I'd be like, oh my gosh, you're losing, oh my gosh. And instead, this time I was like, I feel really good. Oh my gosh, I feel really good. Okay, I know I'm behind, but I feel really good. I remember being shocked that I felt good.
Yeah. So it's the mental game that just gets me.
I was like, I can do this. I can keep going faster. I was excited to just keep pushing. And coming off the second set of pull-ups, going into the handstand push-ups started the third round, I saw her stop and put her hands on her knees. And in that moment, I was like, I got it. Because
that's when you won the game.
That's when I won.
Yes.
I just went right into the handstand push-ups and just kept moving. And it's like what we were talking earlier, I'm not super high pace. If that workout was a 4-minute workout versus I think it was about 5.5 minutes, she would have won.
Okay.
Or maybe I would have gone out hotter. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But just in that moment, I had a little bit more left that it was not a problem to finish. And then we finished with 3 rope climbs at the very end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was we were only 1 rope climb apart.
Wow.
But it's fun.
Wow,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the thing to note here, right, is that it's a mental game. And I think a lot of us, even working out, it occurs to us as too hard, or, I got to change my schedule. Well, you do, right? That's part of it. But the other part of it is, what are the benefits that you get from working out? Really talk about what it is that CrossFit has done for you personally.
Okay. Well, I love that question, and I'm not avoiding the question, but something you said there I'd really like to speak to.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. Go for it.
So I really believe that the power comes from creating possibility around people's fitness.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
So what I mean by that is that what if fitness were something that people couldn't wait to go work out?
Ooh.
So because you said you made a reference that it's hard work.
Yeah, it occurs.
It occurs as hard work.
It's hard work, yeah.
And I'm not denying that it's not hard work.
Mm-hmm.
However, what if the hard work was like, it's like, did you ever have field day at school?
Yeah.
Did you like field day?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, what if it was like that? Where like every day at the end of your work day, you got to go to field day. And there's like just fun. Like you're just like, I can't wait to go.
Right.
And that's like I refer to like the hamster wheel. Like the hamster wheel of life. And it's like when I think of like the hamster wheel, I just see people like on the treadmill, just like logging miles to log miles.
Yeah.
And just doing reps to do reps without any purpose behind it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about CrossFit is that it brought the play back into fitness.
That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
That is so true. When you walk into a CrossFit box, and the one couple of ones that I've been into, there's usually a wall, or there's usually some kind of a something that has where everybody is, either the level 1 or level 2 or level 3, or they're pre-level 1 or whatever.
Yeah, every gym's different.
Every gym is a little different, but you always have like something that shows where people are progressing to, right? They started out here and they're moving up to here.
Yeah. How I set it up in my affiliate is I just would give people goals based upon like what they wanted to achieve. So if somebody wanted to do a muscle up, we're not going to just jump in the rings and start flailing around on the rings, or even a kipping pull up.
Right.
So the kipping pull up is like a more dynamic pull up. And so I had the recommendation that they have the ability to do 3 strict pull-ups and 3 strict dips prior to attempting kipping pull-ups. And I've heard people say, I can't do any strict pull-ups, but I can do kipping pull-ups. And honestly, like I cringe every time I hear that, because as far as I see it, those people are just setting themselves up for shoulder surgery down the road. Because they don't have, you need to have the strict strength to have the integrity of the joint before you just go and start like flailing around. Because you can just, there's everyone who, you hear people talk about their arthritis all the time, especially as you age. Oh, my ex and I used to joke like, oh, I got the itis.
There's some kind of something.
It's But so much, there is the rheumatoid arthritis, which is like your inflammatory arthritis.
Right.
And then there's the osteoarthritis, which osteoarthritis is essentially, it develops from poor movement patterns over time.
Okay.
So sometimes folks have acute trauma. So someone might be a football player and get tackled from the side and then have to have knee surgery.
Right.
And then now you have surgery and you have scar tissue and basically like limitations.
Yeah.
So there's like the idea of like a buffer zone.
Right.
So a lot of CrossFit gyms, you will see a lot of like college students, just young bucks and whatnot, people just in there like throwing down and maybe with like less than ideal form, and it's no big deal. Yeah. Well, those individuals have a really high buffer zone. So they've never had any major injuries, and their body, our bodies are amazing. We can tolerate a lot of stuff. Yeah. However, then you have the individuals where they've had several surgeries over their time. It's like, oh, I've had surgery on my knees and my ankles and my hips and my shoulders and blah, 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 like this whole list. Yeah. And so the Stay Active clinic that I was part of back in Asheville, we helped people like that still be able to have access to being able to do functional fitness. And a lot of those people have it that they're just stricken to the couch forever. And that's completely not true. And that's what I love about Rush Club too, is it shows what's possible.
Yeah. No excuses really.
Yeah. And it's not just like stop being lazy and get out there, because honestly, it does require a certain level of education to be able to set those people up for success. Because you don't want to have, if I'm an affiliate owner and I just finished a CrossFit level 1, it's going to be out of my league to have someone that said, oh, I had neck surgery 3 months ago, right? But that's what I really love about being able to combine like my profession of chiropractic with my love for health and fitness and my understanding around strength and conditioning. Yeah. I love helping that population of people that feel as though fitness is no longer a possibility for them.
That's perfect. It's almost like this is your like calling in life.
Yeah.
Really. And chiropractic really does give you that baseline for being able to know what functional movements they can do anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you have also all chronic injuries have an associated strength imbalance. Okay. And so I was already running the gym and the clinic at the time. OPEX also has a coaching certification program, which is amazing. And that is where I really got a broader understanding of like what it means to have strength balance. And it's a lot of strength and conditioning principles that I was able to correlate with like understanding of biomechanics in the human body, and then started doing assessments on people that came in with, they're like, yeah, I had this surgery, I had that surgery. Yep. And every single time they have an associated strength imbalance. And what I mean by that is there's an ideal ratio of what we should be able to lift versus squat versus push and pull in all various planes of motion and like the upper body and lower body, that, you know, like when we have tendinitis, okay, it's like, if you have tendinitis, the question is, okay, well, are you better in pulling or pushing?
Right.
Because one of them is going to be off.
Right.
And then in order to, instead of just doing like all the passive modality therapies, and nothing wrong with those, they help with the inflammation and such, but how to really overcome those issues is to look at, okay, where's your strength and balance, and what do we need to do to get you stronger? And it doesn't matter if they've never touched a weight in their life, they can start somewhere. And you can, there's like some way to assess them. They don't have to be doing high, you know, really advanced movements. They can, you know, do you pick up your dog food bag? Do you pick up your groceries?
Right.
Do you want to be able to pick up your grandchildren? You know, that requires strength training to be able to do it safely.
Right.
And so
you don't want to drop the kid. I mean, the bag of dog food's fine. It's, you know, I'm all game for that, but don't drop the kid. You know?
Oh man.
Right.
Yeah. Just a really quick story. This is kind of totally off topic, but
go for it.
There was this, I had two amazing dogs while I lived in Nashville. Both of them passed this past year, but they're super amazing dogs. It's okay. They were like at the gym with us every day. They were just awesome. And there was this little pet supply stop that I would go in downtown Asheville to get my dog food. And there was this gentleman there. He must have been in his 70s. And he was the owner. I mean, who knows how many decades he had this shop there. Right. And I'd always go there like straight from the gym, just like kind of disgusting in my like tanks. You know, I'm in my clothes that people will give me the comments of like, do you work out? Right. And every time
I just dress up like this because I want to get the question. Here's your sign.
He never let me carry the dog food to the car.
Really?
Yeah, he's just so polite. And at first I felt kind of ridiculous. Like I want to just be like, hey man, I can lift way more than this. This is fine. And then I realized this is his exercise. I'm not going to take that away from him. Right. He gets to carry the bag of dog food out to my car. He gets a little bit of sunshine. Right. You know, just gets him out of the shop for a moment. And he gets to, you know, basically allowing him to contribute to me. Right. I was like, okay. Yeah. And then it just became this, you know, once a month or so, I just go and like, buying the dog food. And and so things like that. I look at my grandmother never did exercise. Like I look back, I'm like, my grandma would have been an awesome CrossFitter.
Think so?
Yeah. No doubt. My mom, you know, she's amazing. My grandmother too.
Your mom is a CrossFitter.
Yeah, my mom's a CrossFitter.
She still does.
Absolutely. Right? She started at like 53 years old. Now she's about, you know, sorry, Mom. She was born in 1956 in December, so that makes her 57,
58, something like that. Yeah.
I love you, Mom.
Hey, shout out to you, Mom. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna shout out to you, give you mad props. Thank you for putting her on the earth. Yeah. And you and Dad, and then thanks for, you know, taking on your own health and wellness. You're awesome. So,
yeah, right. She is amazing.
We're done there.
Yeah. You want to know a unique fact about me?
I do. Something nobody else knows.
Yeah. So my biological father lives in Germany, and so my dad that I refer to has been like the dad I've known all my life. He and my mom got married when I was 5. And so basically the like random fact about me is I was basically like the best souvenir anyone could ever bring home. Because my mom went on vacation to Germany and came back with me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Way to go, Mom.
And I'm pretty sure I'm like, you know, my sister too, but we're the best thing that ever happened to her.
You're a German souvenir.
I'm a German souvenir. Yeah.
Priceless, by the way. You are priceless.
Thank you.
So I love this conversation. I'm having so much fun, and I definitely want to get to the part where, you know, where I met you, right at Celebrity Theater. I think it was February 6th,
2016.
It was a Saturday. I remember that, and you know, and you were just bigger than life on stage. I think you came through smoke. Like, it was a big production, man.
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
it's fun.
The Rush Club, you know, AJ and the crew have put on it's a show, and it's a lot of fun. I liken it unto maybe the CrossFit version of UFC.
Yeah, that's exactly what the idea is.
That's exactly what it seems like, and it's growing as a sport, and more people are getting involved, and we're starting to see, like, I'm inspired, and other people, and that's exactly what AJ's up to, and you inspire me,
Well,
and
thank you.
I watched you perform like unbelievably top fitness, like everything. I was blown away.
Thank you.
So why don't you go through the head game, like how that all worked?
Well,
how'd that go in your head?
Yeah, that performance was very significant to me in that it was the first time that I had a huge breakthrough prior to that.
Okay.
I took a course with Landmark back in November, literally about 2 weeks after I won the lightweight belt.
Okay.
And it was a whole weekend on performance.
Right.
And in that weekend, I discovered that I've been competing for 20 years now. I'm 34 years old, and I started racing when I was 14-year-old in cross country.
Oh, my.
Okay, so 20 years I've been doing some type of competition every single year.
Okay.
And this whole time, I've been walking around as existing as someone that doesn't have any talent or ability, because I was told that when I was younger. I was never I wasn't a great runner. I mean, I ended up being a scholarship athlete at Division I school, but I mean, one of my best friends from Ohio actually lives here in Anthem, Arizona, and her father was my junior high cross country coach.
Oh, wow.
In my senior year in high school, he shared with me, he said, Shanna, you've shown me that I will never judge a book by its cover. And what he meant by that is that in 7th grade, I didn't do any sports. I just had gym class. I had stopped playing softball because I never really loved softball. I got so bored.
Yeah.
I just was too active for softball.
It's too damn slow.
Yeah.
Baseball, softball, etc.
I played for 6 years, though, because it was convenient. All the neighbor kids played. I just went along with it.
Yeah. First, it's fun.
Yeah. And I'm not, if you saw me on a basketball court, you would see that I'm not athletic in the way of hand-eye coordination is not my strength. Okay. And so, but that doesn't mean I'm not athletic.
Right.
Or doesn't mean that I can't.
Oh, shit. In my opinion, you are a high-speed athlete.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Coach Keller told me my senior year that he'd never judge a book by its cover, because he came to one of my gym classes in 7th grade when we were doing the track unit, if you will, because he was recruiting. He wanted to see if he wanted to invite anyone. And he said, Shanna, no offense, but I didn't ask you to come out for the cross country team for a reason. I'm just out there. I remember the day too. I was in these baggy sweatpants, and when I ran, despite the fact that I was 78 pounds, I was this tiny little thing. I was so heavy on my feet. It was clomp, 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 just coming down the track. And I was so awkwardly slow. I mean, I would try so hard and just get last all the time. And then but we did this campus run as punishment in 7th grade gym class too, which basically was about 1.5 miles.
Okay.
And I secretly loved when we got in trouble and got to do the campus run. So I was oh. And what I loved about it, I didn't love it the first time we did it, but then the second time we did it, the gym teacher, Miss Francis, she kept track of our times, and I got better.
Oh, really?
I was I ran faster this time.
Oh, see, now you're an addict.
Yeah.
You love getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the moment for me.
Leveling
because
up.
softball, years of playing softball, it wasn't really distinct when I got better. And then it was running, I was black and white. I got better.
Yeah.
Same course, ran faster. And we did it 3 or 4 times. And so then I decided I want to go out for cross country. Oh, they get to run 2 miles. Okay, how much better can I get? And then, it's exactly it. I became an addict. I became an addict of just so curious and hungry to discover how much better can I be. And despite the fact, when I started my first cross country race, I got second to last. I was running 9-minute miles.
Oh, wow.
And then my senior year, I ran 5:05 in the mile.
Wow.
I set the school record.
Isn't that what the Navy SEALs are supposed to do? No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I got really fast. I ran really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and
incredible.
it was just and every year I was just dumbfounded. And my coach, my high school coach, Coach Huntington, he was a genius, because he created this club called the Mileage Club.
Oh, wow.
And the Mileage Club happened July and August. This is how he had so many championship teams. He made
it into a game.
He made work ethic a game.
Right.
Exactly. He created a mileage club, and depending upon if we were a first year, second year, third year, fourth year on the team, so you could be your first year as a senior, you were assigned to run so many miles. And then he gave you a T-shirt at the sports banquet if you made the mileage club.
Really?
My freshman year in high school, I was at the sports banquet, and I didn't win any awards. I was one of the we went to state that year, and I was the 7th of 7 girls that got to run at the state meet. And then I was at the banquet, didn't get any awards for that. And then everyone got rewards for the Mileage Club, these t-shirts. And I realized that I couldn't control how fast I ran, or I didn't feel like I could, but I could determine how much work I put in, that I could at least be acknowledged to put in the work to get the t-shirt. And so that next summer, I put in the work to get the t-shirt, and guess what? My performances improved a lot too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, of course. That's a natural, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we went Rush Club.
Rush Club.
Mm-hmm.
That, how did that actually, how do I want to ask this? How did that competition go for you? How was that? Because I got to see it. Now, look, I got to see it, right? I got to watch what you did, but I didn't get to see what was going on in here. So tell me a little bit about.
Well, I competed against Lauren, and I'm going to butcher her last name, Lauren Herrera, I believe, and super awesome athlete and super, super sweet girl. I mean, such a pleasure to be around. And I knew that I had to go out after it. It was a really short workout, and I also, like, just kind of what I was talking to you before, I realized that I gave up that I didn't have any talent. And I finally decided to step into the fact that I'm really talented and I'm a great athlete.
Yeah.
And it's like people have been kind of like telling me this and be like, yeah, okay, and like not believe it.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, that's ridiculous. So I'm a great athlete. And you know what happened is all my anxiety around competing went away. Because I've had this love-hate relationship. And it was really awesome to experience it at Rush Club, because that was my third time competing at Rush Club. And you're literally backstage waiting for your walkout song. And the first 2 times when I was backstage for my walkout song, it was like this pacing back and forth. Why do I do this? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And in that, in that performance weekend that I referenced, I realized that I had it, that every time I did have success, that I got lucky.
Okay.
And so when you're just hoping to get lucky and you don't actually believe that you're capable of achieving what you achieved, then there's a lot of anxiety the next time it comes time to compete, that you hope you get lucky again.
Right.
It's like almost like I was fooling people. Like, oh, I'm fooling people. I'm not really an athlete.
Yeah, but you are.
I am. I'm over it now.
And that is brilliant. Now, what was that weekend about? How'd you get to the weekend? Just real quick. We're gonna take a real quick side road. What was the weekend? Who was that with?
With Rush Club?
Was that with Landmark?
With Landmark Education.
Oh, okay, great, great.
Yeah.
So I love Landmark.
Yeah.
Landmarkworldwide.com if you want to know more about it. Fantastic programs. Their flagship is called The Forum.
Yep.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I took it in 2012, and I wouldn't be here without it. I mean, it completely altered my life.
Oh, completely.
Amazing.
Life-changing.
And I'm in their Introduction Leaders program now.
Right.
And I mean, I want to be a Landmark Forum leader.
Do you?
That's my
I
mission.
can see that for you.
Yeah, I would love to be a Landmark Forum leader.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're on the right path for that.
Thank you.
With the Introduction Leaders Program. Okay, so now we're off of that. Back to the Rush Club. So you're having this competition. You've got this great breakthrough. And what's happening out there is just, from my perspective, what I see is this professional athlete going after it like nothing. Like just...
Yeah. It was the first time I attacked.
It was intense.
I've never attacked like that before.
Wow.
And, also I was inspired to attack because it wasn't about me. I mean, I was out there to win. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But I realized that I usually play it safe. This is kind of like my habit in my life of just play it safe, play it safe, play it safe. And I realized that while it is exciting to watch someone come from behind, it's a little bit more exhilarating to watch somebody like put it out there and then just try to hold on. And that's what it was like. Wow. It's like I went 20 seconds harder on the bike than I did in any of my practice runs. Yep. And I got to the, we're clean and jerking. So basically taking a barbell to our shoulders to overhead at body weight. So 125 pounds for 14 reps. Right. And then we end with those muscle ups we talked about earlier.
Right.
And so I got off the bike first, but she's right behind me. I think I got 1 rep in before she got off the bike. And then I'm just like watching her. Yeah. I'm just like, okay, back to the bar. And it's just over and over and over. Yeah. And I was like, that bike really gets like, it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable, yeah.
And then your heart rate's really high, your breathing's really heavy, and you're trying to focus on picking up this heavy weight over and over again and being very efficient. Yeah. Because that's the key. If you're slightly forward off your heels, you waste so much energy. So I'm like, my perfectionist qualities work to my advantage sometimes in the sport of CrossFit because it allows me to be very efficient in my movements. Right. And so obviously then you want to be more efficient so you don't do extra work. Right. And then we got to the rings, and in practice, I'm very good at muscle ups. And I had done it was a 7 workout, 7 reps at the end. And in practice, I did 8 at the end just to know that I could do an extra one if I needed to.
Right, yeah.
Well, I get into the rings this time and I'm all like I'm faster than I've ever been at that point. And my second rep, I'm like, I remember in my head, I'm like, uh-oh. Like, I could tell my rhythm was off. My coordination was starting to go. Like, I was redlining. I was, like, right there.
Yeah.
And I got through 5 reps, and then I missed my 6th rep. So then I come down at the rings, and we have our backs to each other. And they do that for a reason.
Right.
And so I'm kind of looking over my shoulder, and I didn't know if she had started on the rings or not yet. And so then I'm like, okay, just go. And I go up, and I only had 2 reps left. I'm like, I can do 2.
Yeah.
I got 1 and missed my second one. And I was like, oh my gosh.
So now you got to do the 9th one.
And I'm like off the rings, and like I could just feel all the blood rushing to my legs. And while the rings are with your arms, and never before have I realized how much I need my hips and my legs to still do them.
Right.
And so then at this point, I'm literally turning over my shoulder and looking where Lauren is. And I saw our judge had 3 fingers in the air for 3 reps left. And so I'm like, okay, focus in, nail this 1 rep and finish. And I did. And it was like a blur. I mean, the interview at the end, I like got through the interview, and then I went down the stairs, and I just sat at the top of the staircase, like right off stage. And I haven't hurt like that in a long time, if even ever.
Wow.
But I decided like I just was going to go for it, because a lot of times when I've lost in the past, I've heard other athletes say I laid it all out on the line, and every time I played it safe and lost, I didn't have that experience that I laid it all out there, and I'm just over that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what it looks like when I test myself.
And this is completely changing your life in the world of entrepreneurship, right? I mean, right, all of it.
It's like being on the edge, right? Like not being afraid to be on the edge.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much. We need to wrap up, but thank you so much for everything you shared today. And I want you to know, in my opinion, you are a champion. You are a class act. You've got what it takes, and I love you. You're amazing. So I want to say this. For anybody who's never experienced Rush Club or actually been to a CrossFit gym, if you've never done that before, go check out RushClubNation.com, and you'll see all the athletes. And of course, you're going to see Shanna Duvall there. You'll see a number of other what are called adaptive athletes, and you would call them handicapped, but don't you dare say that in front of them. They're adaptive athletes. They've adapted around whatever you would call a handicap. So I love that. And again, that's RushClubNation.com. Take a look. There's videos up there. Rush Club 007 is recently passed, and of course, that's where you won your flyweight division title. And do you have to? You actually have to defend.
Yeah.
Your title. So okay, and that's
I actually have to defend. I get to defend.
Awesome.
I get to defend the title.
You get to defend.
Yes.
I apologize.
It's okay.
Thank you so much for being here,
Mike. It's such a pleasure. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're quite welcome.
Yeah, this is awesome.
For Mike G and for Nick G and for Shanna Duvall, we want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for viewing. And we'll see you next time on The Edge.
Decoding visionaries and subcultures. The Edge Podcast with Mike G is brought to you by the following sponsors. Thank you for your support.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort.
Cause I'm the type of nigga that's built to last. If you fuck with me, I put my foot in your ass. See, I don't give a fuck cause I keep belling. Yo, what the fuck are they yelling?
Don't push me cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my